So Hannah Schmidt, Red Bull's principal strategy engineer, has provided some insight into how the team helped Max Verstappen go from 10th to 1st place on the podium in Hungary, a victory she called one of the best of the season. Verstappen and Sergio Perez started 10th and 11th on the grid respectively, and strapped on a set of soft tyres as they attempted to work their way through the grid. In an interview with Sky Sports, Schmidt revealed that starting the race on the softs was not originally planned. So, because we were starting out of position, one of the maybe more classic strategies to do is to start on the harder tyre and go much longer, particularly with overtaking being much more difficult in Hungary, so that was our plan. But we had also actually talked a lot pre-race about if the conditions are a bit damp and very cool, as they might have been, that we could consider the soft tyres the alternative because that might be better in those conditions. And the laps to the grid both drivers were very vocal about, having hardly any grip even though they were already on the soft tyre. The race engineers were like, we don't think the hards are a good idea. We all had a long discussion about it with Christian as well, and decided to change to the soft tyres. There was a little bit of rain in the air as well, so really that was the better tyre for that condition. Our concern was whether we could make enough progress in that first stint to make it worth it, but obviously both drivers made great progress, so it really was. Now, when asked about the team's chain of command for making such a late decision on the strategy, Schmitz explained, "We're all very much a team, so throughout the weekend it's very collaborative. We're listening to everybody's different opinions and points of view because it's not always just about the numbers and the data. The drivers have a lot of feeling as well in the car, so we try to take that on board, take on board what the race engineers, they might be looking at different data to the strategists, so taking all that information on board and we discuss everything, but at the end of the day it's a strategy call. So we make the final call, but we try and just make the final call and use as much information as we can to make those decisions." The victory in Hungary was Red Bull's 9th victory of the season, with Verstappen accounting for 8 of them. However, Schmitz revealed that a 9th victory was not the goal at the start of the day, making the outcome all the more satisfying. "Actually, it's one of the best wins of the season. Just because I think starting P10 in Hungary was not something that we were expecting at all. I was thinking maybe we might just get on the podium, P3, P4 was kind of the best thing that was coming out of the simulations. So it was extremely exciting. It wasn't really until the end of the race that I thought, whoa, we could actually win this. So it felt all the sweeter from where we started." However, while the Hungarian Grand Prix was a significant point swing in Red Bull's favour, it was not as simple as some may believe. Yes, Verstappen did have that spin just as he passed Leclerc for the effective lead, but we're not talking about that. You might be surprised to learn that the Dutchman was on the verge of retiring from the Grand Prix. The world champion's anxiety began when he suffered a power unit issue during the final part of qualifying, preventing him from setting a truly representative Q3 time following a mistake on the first 2 of his runs. Due to a rule change agreed upon in June, Red Bull were able to change Verstappen's power unit, as well as that of his teammate Sergio Perez, on the morning of the race and keep their grid positions of 10th and 11th respectively. Previously, doing so would have resulted in a pit lane start. Red Bull boss Christian Horner revealed that the team was lucky to figure out what went wrong during qualifying, because if they hadn't and instead left the power unit unchanged for the race, it would have resulted in a race-ending failure. "We changed the power unit because there was a part that broke on Max's car in qualifying. Luckily, we're here now as race winners, but with the maximum hindsight, it's lucky the part broke yesterday because with 12 kilometers more, it would have broken during the laps to the grid. So we decided to change the whole power unit rather than trying to fix it there, and as a precaution, we also changed Checo's engine." Horner also stated that both engines removed from the cars on Sunday morning in Hungary are reusable and will thus be returned to each driver's separate pool for the remainder of the season. With his victory at the Hungaroring and Leclerc's 6th place finish, Max Verstappen enters the Formula 1 summer break with his 8th and best win of the season and a 2nd World Championship within touching distance. With 9 races remaining, an 80-point lead cools the temperature significantly for the Dutchman. Verstappen's advantage is not mathematically insurmountable, but it may as well be when Red Bull is so ceaseless and Ferrari so fragile. Victory came from a 10th place start on a track notorious for being difficult to overtake on. From the unfavourable reality of the 2 Ferraris starting 2nd and 3rd, and from the vantage point of seeing title rival Charles Leclerc in the lead, 5 seconds up the road with less than half the race remaining. Now, Verstappen was careful not to admit it, but this was a statement victory for him and Red Bull, and the best of an incredible season. "I find it difficult to say if this is the most competitive race we've had," said Verstappen. "I think a lot of it was also just about choosing the right tyres at the right time. Of course, we know that our car is quick, but I think throughout the race, Ferrari was also very fast. They just made the wrong call with the hard tyre. There's still a lot of things we can look into, what we can do better. Starting 10th, winning the race on a track like this is of course very good. There's always a few areas where we could have done better, but overall of course I'm very happy. This season, Ferrari has imploded so spectacularly that Red Bull and Verstappen haven't had to do anything special to win. But the Hungarian Grand Prix was clearly not a case of picking up the pieces. This was Red Bull and Verstappen being unstoppable in the Grand Prix. This race and performance from Red Bull and Verstappen, but also Ferrari, summed up why it appears Verstappen will win the World Championship. Because of the points lead, it's easy to assume Verstappen has this in the bag. He's up by 80 points, and there's only been one other season in history where a larger deficit has been overcome, 1976. James Hunt won the title after trailing Niki Lauda by 33 points, or around 90 points in today's points currency. Of course, Hunt's comeback was contingent on a unique set of circumstances. It wasn't your typical title fight. Ferrari and Leclerc will not be so fortunate. There's been a significant improvement from where they were last year to where they are now. However, the bar set by Verstappen and Red Bull is too high for Ferrari and Leclerc. Leclerc must be included because he's made 2 critical errors this season, the most recent being in France. Verstappen is not immune to mistakes, as this race demonstrated, but when he can spin, make it 360 degrees and minimise his time loss, even his mistakes appear to be pretty perfect at the moment. And the Paddock has taken notice of his perfection. Verstappen appears to have found whatever he lacked in 2021, which is all the more surprising given that he's a generational talent which no one can deny. Felipe Massa has been nothing but complimentary about the young Dutchman. In an interview, the ex-Sauber, Ferrari and Williams driver stated that Verstappen was driving at a higher level than his championship winning season. "I've been very impressed. I was already very impressed last year, but last year he had some races where he had some battles with Lewis and made some mistakes here and there, but this year he's just doing a great job. If you compare the last few qualifications, he's a second faster than Perez. Max is just showing there is no other driver who does a better job than what he shows." And despite Ferrari's struggles, Massa was eager to highlight Red Bull's car performance and team organisation. The team is executing these great strategies by working with him, so everything is just going perfectly between the team and Verstappen to win the second title. The team also deserves it as they have a hugely competitive car, faster, but also in the race it's the best car in terms of tyre management. So, what are your thoughts on Red Bull's recent performances and Ferrari's gaffes? Is the championship already decided? Do you think Ferrari will restructure during the summer break in order to reel Verstappen back in? We'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to click the bell button to be notified of future videos.